Hello, I'm Barralet and welcome to this Crystal Connections video where we're exploring 5 of my favourite crystals for connecting to Lemuria. Now before we dive into those crystals, I guess we should define what is Lemuria. Well, Lemuria is believed to have been an ancient landmass that existed in the southern hemisphere. It stretched from one side over to Madagascar and parts of Africa and to the other side to South America, and also encompassed parts of the Pacific Islands, Australia and New Zealand. So basically it was a big southern hemisphere landmass. Now this was believed to have existed predating Atlantis, and then there was a bit of a crossover into Atlantean times as well. The people that lived in Lemuria were known as the Lemurians, and what made them really special were some really magical traits. Now first of all, the Lemurians did not have the technology that we have today, and this enabled them to develop their mind and their intuition and their spiritual abilities to form a really deep connection with nature. They lived in harmony with the plants, the animals, the crystals, the moon, and the movement of the planets, and allowed that harmony to dictate their lifestyle, and it was a dance with nature. The other thing that was very special about the Lemurian culture is when I think about the Lemurian culture, if I had to give it a shape, it would be a circle. And in that circle, everyone sat. Everyone played a different role and had a different responsibility and contributed in a different way. And it's quite interesting when we look at a lot of the cultures of the Indigenous and First Nations and Native people of the Southern Hemisphere, and still even the importance today, we see this community or circle or tribal nature. Here in Australia, although we have been settled by white people predominantly now, there is this underlying culture of what we call the tall poppy syndrome. And this basically means that no one likes someone who tries to stick their head up or grow too tall, and we like to all be equal in that way. What really excites me about Lemurian crystals is that over the last few decades, new Lemurian crystals that are found only on the Southern Hemisphere land masses have actually raised themselves. And I feel that they've done this at exactly the same time that we've discovered them and they've come into our awareness. Compared to the more Atlantean energy that is quite hierarchical and about the individual, I think there's a need for us to come back to the community, to come back to nature and living in harmony with nature. And we see that shift, and I think it's time to go back to that Lemurian knowledge when we've been living in a really Atlantean time in the past. So these 5 crystals that I want to share with you are really, really sacred to the Southern Hemisphere land masses and bring forward the gifts of the Lemurians. So let's dive in and discover 5 of my favorite crystals for connecting with Lemuria. If you've been a subscriber to my channel, you've probably seen a whole range of different crystals, but today I want to share with you the one crystal that if my house was on fire, it would definitely be the first crystal I'd grab. And this is my Lemurian seed crystal. Now this is a variety of clear quartz. Now quartz normally grows in big clusters, but late in the 1990s in Brazil, they started to find some different crystals, and they had been broken off from their clusters and buried deep in the sand. What was really interesting and what made these crystals even more unique is, hopefully you can see here on the line, there's little ribbing up and down lines. And as intuitive and spiritual people started to work with them, they started to connect back with the ancient knowledge of Lemuria. It is believed the Lemurians foresaw this time when their knowledge and their wisdom and their guidance would be needed again, and programmed these crystals in order for us to be able to access that knowledge. So how do we do that? Well, having the Lemurian seed crystal around will allow you to do that. But in meditation, what you can do is basically run your finger along those ribs or those lines in there, and that will allow you to connect with it. Or other people have found putting your nail into each one it's like a USB stick, and you're going through each of the files and having that connection as well. What you'll find, if you don't have your own Lemurian seed crystal yet, and this is a big one, you can get small ones and even bigger than this obviously, but you'll know when you find your one. It'll almost attach to you like it's your soulmate in that way. And what I find this one brings, clear quartzes are normally quite uplifting and stimulating. This gives me makes me more alert and more focused, but in a more peaceful and grounded connection. Whenever I feel I need to get back to community, get back to nature, get back to those Lemurian core tenets of what was really important for them, I reach for my Lemurian seed crystal. So if you're really interested in delving deep into the teachings and the wisdom of Lemuria, then a Lemurian seed crystal is definitely a must. Another crystal that is found only here in Western Australia, my homeland, is this crystal called Mookaite. Now Mookaite is found near the Mooka River, and you get these beautiful colorations in here. You get these kind of ochres, which are very much of the land of Australia, and reds. And then what you also get in here is you get these beautiful whites and purples and pinks. You know, this is one of my favorite pendants that I love to wear, especially when I'm traveling, to really connect me back with home. So what happens with this stone when you're working with it is the reds and the ochres, those yellows, really help to ground you and connect you back to the earth, which again, that Lemurian energy is being in harmony with nature. But the whites and the pinks and the purples bring in that spiritual aspect. Sometimes we feel like we have to go to Machu Picchu or the pyramids or Stonehenge or somewhere else in the world to find a magical place of land. But Mookaite allows us to find the magic in your own backyard, to connect with the trees, the rocks, the rivers, the streams, whatever is nearby you, and to find the magic right there. It also allows you to feel home wherever you are, and that's why I travel with this Mookaite. I love to, whenever I get somewhere else, I have to take a few minutes, hold this pendant and visualize roots going into the ground, to connect with the energy of that land, to feel that connection to another aspect of Mother Earth, wherever I may be. I find that helps me to feel grounded, more settled, it helps with jet lag, and it helps me to get my bearings as well. So if you feel that you've disconnected from the earth and are unable to see the magic of the earth, or kind of feel maybe that you've moved from where it used to be your home and now don't feel connected to it. I have many expatriate friends who find Mookaite can really help you to kind of settle into this land. I remember a friend of mine had been living in London for about 10 years, and there she'd married someone and they decided to come back to Western Australia. And I said, how are you enjoying Western Australia? Now, he had grown up in the centre of London. That's where he'd lived his whole life, in a small kind of house with a big family. I said, it sounds really weird, but it feels too quiet here in Western Australia. They had a big house down on the coast and lots of space. And I gave him a Mookaite bracelet. And a couple of weeks later, I checked in back with him and said, how you doing? He said, I don't know if it's a bracelet or what it is, but I'm starting to feel, I really enjoy the kind of energy here and the difference here, and I don't miss London as much. So Mookaite can help you to feel at home wherever you are on Mother Earth, and to discover her magic, her peace, and her ability to help you find harmony and balance within and around you in your life. Super quartzes, or combination quartzes, where smoky quartz and clear quartz and amethyst all grow together, are found all around the world. But there's a really high vibration special one that was found just a few decades ago in Brazil, and it's known as Super7. Now this is a combination of smoky quartz, amethyst, and clear quartz, but then growing within it are 4 different crystals: lepidocrosite, geothite, rutile, and cacoxenite. I did remember them all. And each of these have very, very different energies. We know that obviously smoky quartz is very grounding, whereas we find that amethyst is very spiritual. Clear quartz, very balancing. Cacoxenite, very heartfelt. Rutile helps you to shine. So we've got all these different crystals working together to help bring out your best. When I'm either carrying or wearing Super7, I feel like I've just drunk about 2 liters of Coca-Cola. I feel really energized and able to tackle whatever comes my way. The greater lesson of Super7 is that when different things come together, we're stronger. And we see in the world a lot of separation, where I think this and you think that, so we're different from each other and we must be separate. But Super7 helps communities come together. Whether it be blending of families, blending of people in a community, or blending of nations, Super7 helps us to see that our diversity is an asset rather than a curse. It allows us to bring people together and each shine in a unique way and offer our unique gifts. So when you find there is division and a lack of celebration of diversity, Super7 will help to bring harmony in those groups or those situations. In fact, Super7 is a really great ambassador for the internet. For the first time, we are able to connect with people all around the world that are totally different to us and learn from them in different ways. So, just like the Lemurians saw everyone having an equally important, diverse and different role, Super7 allows you to embrace that and also allows you to be your absolute best so that you shine as you sit in the circle of humanity. Now we travel to the other side of Lemuria, to Madagascar. And of course, in Madagascar is where we find the beautiful animals, the lemurs, which possibly the Lemurian name is connected to. So one crystal that is found in Madagascar is ocean jasper. Now, not only does ocean jasper connect us to the oceans that would surround Lemuria and that now surround us throughout the world, but it also brings in that watery element of healing. And emotional healing and kindness is very much the essence of ocean jasper. You know, we often feel like we need to sort everything out and there's so much that we need to fix and that we're broken. But what ocean jasper teaches us is that everything we've been through and everything we've experienced has made us who we are and has given us wisdom, and to honor that. Ocean jasper brings a kind of patience to our lives, that we don't need to change and fix or get somewhere or achieve something, that we just need to be. Just as we see, what is nature trying to achieve? Everything in nature happens in circles. There is birth, there is growth, there is sprouting, there is life, and then there is decay and death. And we see that in the seasons, we see that in the life of a tree, an animal, our own, careers, relationships, all these different things. Instead of trying to get somewhere, ocean jasper, like the ebb and flow of the ocean, says, hey, just go with the flow and experience that. If there is anything that you feel needs to be adjusted or changed, ocean jasper, being a jasper, brings that grounding patience and allows you to be patient with yourself. Forward is forward, but are we heading in a direction? Or are we just going forward, around and around in the circle? The other thing that ocean jasper brings, especially into our heart, is a sense of kindness. To understand that everyone's on their journey, on a different journey in a different circle, and to understand that and to be compassionate of that. We will come across people in our lives that are angry, that are jealous, that are nasty, that are rude, but maybe they've just lost themselves on that path right now. And showing them a bit of kindness and compassion and guiding them back into the community and realizing that they're valued can be a really powerful thing. Whether you're lost or someone else is lost, ocean jasper brings that compassion and that kindness that we need to not only heal ourselves as an individual, but to heal a community so we all can move forward around the circle together again. I'm going to sneak in a sixth crystal. While we're talking about emotional healing, there was another crystal that was discovered in 1996 in Namibia. It's a rare crystal, which is a growth of 5 different crystals all growing together, and it's known as Quattro. So what we have in here is you see parts of green, and that green is malachite. Now malachite helps us to bring issues up to the surface. You've then got shadowkite, which is the dark blue colors there. Shadowkite really helps us to understand and experience and to see the role that it actually played in our lives and the role we played in that event actually unfolding as well. We then have dioptize, which is that real brilliant green, which helps us to accept and understand that, okay, this is all part of life. And then chrysocolla, the beautiful light blue, helps us to release the pain and to release the shackles that stop us from moving forward around that circle. Then you'll find smoky quartz. Smoky quartz gives you a big hug, grounds you and says, well done, tiger, you're doing just fine. So although parts of Africa, and Namibia is on the far side of Africa, not near Madagascar, but still in the southern hemisphere, whether this is a Lemurian crystal or not, I'm not too sure. But it was discovered in 1996 as crystals like Lemurian seed crystals and Super7 were coming out, and it definitely kind of fits that criteria and that feel of Lemuria as well. So it's definitely a great one to have. I find it really powerful in helping us to heal parts that we feel we need to heal, helping us to realize that maybe we're perfect just the way we are, and events are there to shape us and mold us and to give us skills and to give us resilience and fortitude. And maybe, just maybe, if we're gentle with ourselves, the healing will be done without us trying too hard at all. The final crystal is another one found in Madagascar. It's black cockatoos flying over. And this is a crystal known as Indigo Gabbro. Now, it's also nicknamed Mystic Merlinite, which is quite interesting, which kind of connects it with that Merlin energy of Avalon, which is another ancient land. Now, is there a connection to Avalon and Lemuria? Maybe, and we can explore that at a different time. But what I love about Indigo Gabbro is it really helps you to find the magic and use the earth magic in your life. The fact that you're interested in crystals and the fact that you're watching this video kind of suggests to me already that you find the magic in Earth. But how many people were, worrying about purely what's happening up in the heavens and the angels and getting up to the 17th realm and all this type of thing? Like Merlin the wizard, who worked with plants and crystals and different things to work his magic, this crystal will help you to find the magic in crystals, to discover the magic in the plants, and to use that for your healing, your progression, and to bring people back together and to find harmony, balance, and bliss in their lives. Whenever you feel that you can't find the magic in a crystal or in a plant or in a situation in nature, reach for your Gabbro. It awakens that wizard or that magician within, not the one who pulls rabbits out of hats, but the one who can bring the plants together and bring the crystals together to make manifest what you want to do. Rudolf Steiner said, for every illness that can be inflicted on man or that man can suffer, there's a plant somewhere in the world that can help to heal it. Maybe not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. And Indigo Gabbro could be a really great crystal in helping you in that way. I also find this a really great crystal to help you if you are trying to connect with a crystal and it's just not your jam. If maybe you're not getting anything from that crystal or something like that. Try holding that crystal in your right hand, the hand that you actually write with, and the Indigo Gabbro in the left, or holding them together. And you may find that that crystal starts to speak to you in a totally different way. So, hopefully these 5 crystals have kind of been really interesting to you. I really believe that in a time where we've kind of isolated ourselves and stepped away from the community and we're always worrying about our own individual success and maybe not the success of the community, that is why this Lemurian energy uprising is becoming really, really important right now. And all these different crystals will really help you to connect back with that in one way or another. Whether it be connecting with the knowledge of Lemuria, connecting with nature and its magic there, helping yourself to see the value of community or find some type of healing, especially by connecting to the plants and the stones, these crystals can help you to do that. I'd love to hear about your experiences. Please leave a comment in the section below. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video. I'm Adam Barralet. Blessed be.